Rest in peace, Ananda Lewis.
Yo.
Yeah, Ananda Lewis used to be a personality on MTV, died at the age of 52 of breast cancer.
She had the opportunity to do a mastectomy, and she decided to want to detoxify her body as a way to get rid of the tumor.
Doctors are not necessarily seen as credible for a number of different reasons.
There are self-inflicted things that the medical community has done to themselves, but also this is the time. Social media allows everybody to have a voice. So things that normally would not ever get the light of day, conspiracy theories, vaccine theories, they just...
Disinformation, rules the day.
Like crazy. Yo, what's good, everybody? Back again with another episode of Docs Outside the Box. I'm your host, Dr. Nee. I'm joined by my co-host,
Dr. Renee.
Yo, let's get into this, because I'm tired. I'm post-call. Or not actually post-call, but I'm post-shift. And I did 4 miles. And I'm giving what...
That's why you were MIA. I said, oh, this guy forgot he had a family. Why are you so close to the camera? Why are you so close to the camera?
Running. Well, I can't tell sometimes because I was looking at something on my other screen. But I was on Planet Fitness and I was doing 4 miles and it felt... I hate running on a treadmill. I've finally realized I don't like it. But where I'm at is not the most friendly for running, if you know what I mean. Like, there's no sidewalks.
Yeah.
It's very industrial, and I don't trust people not to hit me while I'm running on the side of the road, if you know what I mean. You know.
As a trauma surgeon, I can see why you're not as trusting. So, yeah.
Listen, before we jump into this episode, I just want to give you a shout out. Folks, me and Renee are working on some things behind the scenes. There's some things that we're doing that's in the box, obviously clinical work, but then there's also things that we do outside the box. And I'm super proud of the opportunities that have kind of fallen to us over these last 9 years, almost 10 years. But last week, we got an opportunity to try out for something that I'm super proud of. But I just want to quickly give you your props because you did a really good job knocking this thing out of the park. And you are excellent at this. You have an amazing ability to, connect with people and to make people feel great. And you definitely the ace in the hole. So I just want to say shout out to you. I can't share I can't share what we did, guys, yet. But maybe in the near future, y'all will know what I'm talking about. But shout out to you. Kudos.
Thank you. It's nice to be the ace in the hole instead of the asshole.
You
see what I did there?
Those are the things that you do that you just knock it out the park and stuff.
That right there?
Yeah.
That's what I...
Keep doing that. Keep doing that.
Okay.
Keep doing that.
Okay.
That's how we're going to get all our subscribers on YouTube. But no, shout out to you. You got a gift, Joe. You got a gift. So I'm going to pause and let you take a moment to give me props.
Well, I want to give you a shout out for going to work and bringing home money because we can't live without money. So thanks. Thanks for doing that.
Okay. Well, you're welcome.
You did a great job. You did a great job.
I got it. Next section, guys.
I'm giving you your props.
Man, get out of here with that bullshit. Hey, listen, we got a question. I got a question for you. What is a medical myth or tradition you think we should retire and why? Dr. Renee, what is a medical myth or tradition you think we should retire and why? Because I always ask good questions. You don't ask good questions at all. So go ahead.
A medical myth or tradition we should retire?
Yeah, we should just we don't have to do this anymore. Get rid of it.
24-hour call.
Okay, why?
I just think it's unnatural to ask people to be awake for 24 hours. Well, I just think that that's unnatural. I don't think that humans work really well being on call for 24 hours. Man, but that's a controversial one because of the way I work.
You got the defense lawyers like, yeah. They paying attention, yo. They listen to the show. I'm serious, they do. I'm shocked at how many people or different people listen to the show and what they precisely listen to the show for. It's actually kind of scary.
So I gotta be careful what I say.
Well, guys, this is for edutainment purposes, entertainment purposes only. So listen, like
We potting.
we potting, guys. So if you decide to take action on this,
So what do
feel
you
bad.
think should be retired?
Mm.
Oh, now I'm asking good questions. Now I'm asking good questions.
Renee, we know already. You ask horrible questions.
What
So
are you
you don't
talking
even ask
about?
questions. No, you don't.
Whatever.
You
You,
don't. You
you
like,
just be talking so much.
so like what is the
What's the square
like
root of
who's gonna win the
64?
championship next year? Like what the
It's not the Knicks, I'll tell you that.
Oh, before we get into the question, real quick, shout out to the Knicks.
For what?
Yo,
For playing
East
basketball. Yay.
Eastern Conference Finals, the first time in over 20, almost 25 years that we've made it this far. And I'm super proud to be back on the Knicks bandwagon. This was a great, great year. But then y'all fucked it up and y'all fired the coach. And the Knicks, this is like a game of Jenga. That's the best way I could describe it to me is the Knicks are like Jenga. Like they have so they have one really good player, Jalen Brunson, and they brought in another star, and I don't think that he fits at all. That's Karl Anthony Towns, even though he's from Jersey, big Jersey. I just don't think he fits. He doesn't play
He's
defense
not a
very
good
well.
fit. Why doesn't he? Okay, because he's not.
Yeah, he doesn't play defense very. He's a good scorer, but he's there's a difference between big men and tall men, right? Like big
Mhm.
men are like people who impose themselves, Shaquille O'Neal, who are going to intimidate you and they're going to score. Tall men are people like Tall men are people like they're just as tall as Shaquille O'Neal, but they're very skinny and lanky, and they prefer to shoot threes or prefer to shoot like mid-range jumpers as opposed to dominating down in the key. And that's what Karl Anthony Towns is. And he doesn't play defense. So I think what happened is they brought in somebody, the Knicks um what's the word I want to use? They did better than what they were supposed to do. What's that? That's they overachieved.
Overachieved.
Yeah, they overachieved this year. Plus, the Celtics got shook. And as a result, they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, and then they had to rely just on Jalen Brunson. And he could be very stagnant with the way how he holds the ball all the time. Or you give it to Karl Anthony Towns, and he's shooting threes. And long story short, we lost. And then they fired the coach, acting like it's the coach's fault, and it's not the coach's fault. It's poor personnel. They didn't put the good personnel together. So we're gonna see how the next couple of years goes, but I'm smelling that they're trying to get Kevin Durant. I hope they don't bring Kevin Durant, but that's what they're trying to do.
That'll be
Yeah.
interesting.
But shout out to them. Shout out to them. All right, so let me get back. That gave me enough time to stall to answer this question.
Yes,
A
please.
medical myth or tradition you think should retire? Here's my thing. You're gonna laugh, but you know it's the truth.
What?
I think it should be easier to get into medical school, but it should be harder to get out of medical school.
What does
What I
that
mean
mean?
by I think that they should allow more people to get into medical school, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the rigors of the curriculum, the tests that you have to take, as well as how to graduate should be hard as hell, right? Because
Okay.
I think that really differentiates who really wants to be a doctor versus who just wants to get into school just because they want to make money, or who wants to get in school because, daddy or somebody, opened the door for them and so forth. So I think that if you make medical school a little bit easier to get in, I think you'll end up getting really great candidates because in order to get out, like you really had to do your work to get out and stuff. That's how I feel.
That's an interesting notion because of kind of the history of medical schools and how the MCAT came about. And I think I've told this story
Man, you ain't
on
gonna
the
tell the story on
podcast
this show.
before.
Tell the story
No?
of how it happened. Tell us about it's story time.
It's story time. So I believe it was right around the 1940s when they started looking at, kind of the numbers, if you will, for medical school. And at that time, obviously, the demographic was way different, right? It was more white men getting into medical school and, people of good, wealthy economic status.
Hmm.
Those are the people getting into medical school. So just keep that in mind. But what was happening though was about 50% of people who got into medical school essentially just didn't finish, were failing. And so it was like,
Yeah, I remember you
okay,
said this. Yeah,
yeah. So
they would get in, but they would fail out. A lot of
they
them
would
would.
fail out, right? So that kind of has some similarity to what you're saying. Like let a bunch of people in and then let's just see who finishes the race.
Yes.
But the problem is that there's a lot of resources that go into getting into or maintaining a medical school, right? There's a lot of resources that go into that. And so the question becomes, okay, well, why do we have all of these people taking these seats when half of them are not going to finish? Why don't we just fill the seats with a bunch of people who are going to finish? And so what they ended up, well, the first thing that they did was they gave the first year medical students an exam. And I forget, I think it was called almost kind of like the SAT. I forget what it was called, like almost like a scholastic aptitude test. And then they had the idea that, wait a minute, maybe we should be testing them before they get into medical school.
Ah, that's how it came about. Mm.
And that's how you got the MCAT, right? The medical college admissions test. And so then it became more competitive to get into medical school than to get out of medical school. So my question for you is this: if you did make it that easy to get into medical school, what would happen to those people and what would happen to those seats if those people, if you have like a large percentage of people who fail out and literally can't finish the race?
What's the question again?
What would happen to those people and to those seats if a large percentage of people who now could get into medical school really easily could not finish?
I don't know, but we about to find out because when this big beautiful bill gets passed, there's gonna be motherfuckers dropping out of school. I'm telling you right now. And what they gonna do then, right? Because when people have to drop out of school because they can't get the loans to finish their education, there's gonna be a lot of people dropping out.
Okay, but you like really dodged it. Like that was some old
I didn't dodge it.
that was a cable news.
That was a
That was
dodge.
that
That
was
was
a
a dodge.
cable news dodge if I ain't never seen one before. But yeah,
I think the
I'll let
biggest
you
thing that
pass.
I'll leave it to like this. Here's my answer. I think the biggest thing that's going to happen is the prestigiousness of being a doctor is going to go down.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think the prestige is already kind of diluted now because I think that's the type of society that we have.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody questions any type of institution, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like people don't give a
Mm-hmm.
damn about pilots. People don't give a damn about, I don't know, whatever is like super important and stuff that we held in high regard. People don't give a damn about that anymore. And I think medicine is one of those things where people like distrust us. And I'll go to Chat GPT or I'll go to Google and I'll figure out this diagnosis by my damn self, right? And you got freaking computers and people saying that, look, I'll just use Watson or I'll use Chat GPT to eventually figure out like what diagnoses are going to be. And, we're using mid-levels now to like primarily take care of people. Like, I think if you made school a bit more easier but harder to get out, I think there's always going to be a cause and effect. There's always going to be side effects. And one of the side effects is going to be, hey, yo, people are going to not think as highly about med school as they do.
Because
But
it's
I
so
don't know.
easy to get in.
I think so. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, so on that vein,
But I don't
rest
know
in
if that's a
peace,
bad thing though.
Ananda Lewis. Um,
Yo.
yeah, died at the age of 52 of breast cancer. And, I don't know what her prognosis would have been had she not done what she did. So for those of you who don't know, Ananda Lewis used to be a personality on MTV. And this was in the 90s.
Fine personality.
Yeah, fine, but she was a beautiful woman for sure. And
Yo, because I didn't know about it. I didn't know about it when I was in high school because I didn't have cable. But when I got cable in college, holy, I was like, who this? Oh,
What's her number? Call
yo,
me.
yo, Ananda
Um,
Lewis.
so yeah, so she was a pretty popular personality.
She was a
Um,
VJ. She was a
yeah,
VJ
she
at
was a
MTV.
VJ. Yeah, the video jock on MTV. Well, she got a diagnosis of breast cancer. I think she was in her 30s, right?
No, I think it was. Well, I
Or
don't know,
was
but it
she in
was.
her 40s?
I think it was recently. It was recently.
Okay.
She got diagnosed like 3 or 4 years ago. It was
Oh
a
yeah,
tumor in
yeah.
her
You're
breast.
right. You're right. Yeah,
She had the
I think so.
opportunity. She had the opportunity to do a mastectomy, and she decided that the tumor was a combination of toxins in her body, both physical as well as mental. And she decided to want to detoxify her body as a way to get rid of
Yeah.
the tumor.
And her rationale at that point was that she had seen her mother get mammograms for 30 some odd years and then end up with breast cancer. And so she put in her mind, well, 30 years of radiation equals breast cancer, not realizing that the risk of the radiation, right, it, it was not more than the risk of getting cancer. And so she decided to, what she said was keep her tumor. And like you said, try to detoxify herself. And instead, I mean, we as doctors know what happens. Her cancer spread and she got to stage 4. And unfortunately, she passed. I don't know if she ever got, I don't know if she ever got any treatment. I'm not
Oh,
sure.
I don't think we'll ever know that. But I
Um,
definitely want to say, send my condolences to her family, particularly her son,
mm-hmm.
because her son I think is a mid-teenager now or
Oh,
early teenager. And, the rest of his life will be without his mom. That's the
yeah.
part that's sad. I
Yeah,
think that's really
that's the
sad.
part that's really sad. But it just kind of goes to what you were saying that medicine isn't necessarily seen as the prestigious, incredible, and I think that's the most important. It's one thing to be prestigious. Prestigious, yeah. It's like Jack and Jill. Like, oh, I'm a part of Jack and Jill.
Which you wanted to join, guys. Everybody.
No, I didn't. What are you talking
Wanted
about?
to
I
join
didn't
Jack
even
and
know
Jill
about Jack
so
and
that
Jill
our
until I
kids
was
could be
like
Jack
a
and Jill.
third year in med school. I didn't even know about Jack and Jill.
Okay. And then you
Um,
found out about Jack and Jill. You're like, what is this?
I wanted to join. I wanted to do my 16-year-old debutante ball, whatever the hell
Not
they
for you,
do.
but for our kids.
Right?
You're like,
No,
oh,
I
we should
didn't.
join Jack and Jill. We're moving back to Jersey and stuff. We're going to be in the
Do they even
area.
have Jack and
So,
Jill in Jersey?
yeah, they do. Trust me, they do. They do
Where?
got Jack and Jill. They got Jack and Jill. Trust me.
When I tell you, I had never heard of Jack and Jill until I was a third year in med school. I didn't even know this thing existed. I didn't know people did things like that.
Yeah,
But
they
anyway,
do.
um, it's one thing to be prestigious, right? So having a reputation that is like, oh my goodness, everybody wants to be a part of it, or not everybody can be a part of it. It's exclusive or whatever. It's one thing to be prestigious. It's another thing to be perceived as credible or not, right? And I feel like at this point, kind of to the point that you were making, that doctors are not necessarily seen as credible, um, for a number of different reasons, right? For a number of different reasons. We can't just put this on, well, people out there just don't want to listen to doctors. I think that there are a lot of things that have contributed to that.
There are self-inflicted wounds, or there's self-inflicted things that the medical community has done to themselves. But
Mm-hmm.
also, this is the time, right? This is the sign of the times. Everybody has a voice, and
Mm-hmm.
the way in which we communicate, which is social media, in essence, is kind of decentralized, right? Like
Yeah.
you ain't gotta go to an institution to get certain types of things. And
Right.
as a result, social media allows everybody to have a voice. So things that normally would not ever get like the light of day,
Yeah.
conspiracy theories,
Right.
vaccine theories, whatever it may be, now like they just proliferate
Disinformation, yeah,
they
rules the
proliferate
day.
like crazy.
Yeah.
Like I was watching a little bit of that. Did you watch that thing with Dr. Mike where
Mm.
he was debating all of these people who were like anti-vaxxers. I don't know if they were
Mm,
anti-vaxxers or they were like severely like suspicious of like vaccinations.
hmm.
And like people gave him props, but I'm just watching it. I'm like, you're not convincing anybody of
Right.
like any
Who
of this stuff.
doesn't, right. You're not convincing anybody who already has made up their mind that they do not want vaccines.
Right. Like I think that there should be a caveat here and say, listen, is there anything I can do to like change your mind? And
Right.
if there's not, then like I'm just walking away because this is a waste of time.
Right. Right. Yeah.
You know, but I agree with you. Basically, what's going on is people believe what they want to believe. You know, like we
Hmm.
saw that apparently that was the issue of Tina Turner, where, you know, she had high blood pressure and she was
Hmm.
diabetic, and she felt like there was some holistic methods that she could use
Yeah.
to heal herself. And then she developed kidney failure and needed to be on dialysis, and then,
Hmm.
you know, kind of brought a premature death to her.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like these things happen. Right. And unfortunately, it sounds like with Ananda Lewis.
It was kind of the same thing. It's kind of the same thing. I think there's something to be said for having, holistic or homeopathic type of treatments that can work depending on what it is you're trying to treat, right? If you're trying to treat cancer, if you're trying to treat, conditions that just really are just beyond the scope of, you know, just lose some weight, or drink more water. Like, you can't lose weight and drink water and think that cancer is going to go away, right? Like these, tumors, even benign tumors, like we see this a lot in GYN with fibroids, right? Like, oh, I'll shrink my fibroids by drinking, insert whatever thing they're going to drink here. And it's funny because people will go online and say, yeah, I shrunk, my fibroids did shrink, or I did the vaginal steaming and my fibroids fell out at the end. And I'm like, yeah, what's really funny? Nobody has ever live streamed, because for as much as people like video and live stream, nobody has ever videoed or live streamed their fibroids falling out. I would love to see this because I've never seen it before. And so I will believe it when I see it.
This is a kid-friendly show, so I can't say nothing. No, I get
Yes,
what you're
please.
saying, though. I get what you're saying.
Right. So,
I think, look, to me, what it boils down to, I hear your points. I just think it comes down to a couple of things. One, people don't want to be told what to do, right? There's
correct.
a lot of people. There's a large portion of people who don't want to be told what to do anymore.
Correct.
So, and then I think there's a lot of people who are scared of medical treatment.
Yes.
So they would rather do something else that's less invasive, but
But potentially
purportedly,
ineffective.
yeah, I think that's what it is. Like, so if you have someone who may have cancer and they're like, well, I'm going to try to get the toxins out of my body by doing this, is like, all right, like,
I
like,
mean, I just love the word toxins though, right? Because people throw that word around as if it's like targeting something very specific. It's like, oh, I'm going to get the toxins. Okay, which toxin? Like which toxin exactly are you going after? Which toxins are you, like, which ones, right? Because if you know anything about biochemistry, right? Everything don't bind to everything.
part of this is a psyche type thing, right? Like, but what's the
Yeah.
state of mind of of people currently and stuff. And, this is the way how it is. But I think we're going to have to I think we're going to be talking in circles in
Yeah.
this situation. So,
So
but yeah,
it's
I agree with
unfortunate,
you.
but
Shout out to thoughts and prayers, T's and P's for the family of Ananda Lewis, anybody who is friends with Ananda Lewis. Yeah, I mean, I was joking around before and stuff, but like she just played a role in a lot of people's lives,
mhm,
like our generation's lives in the
mhm.
90s and the 2000s and so forth.
Yeah.
And,
It's just very
it's just
unfortunate that she left
kind of
this
shows the
earth
mortality,
so young. So
shows the
young.
mortality of us also.
Right.
Yeah, shows the
Yeah.
mortality of us.
Yeah. So,
But something very interesting. Let's change topics real quick. Something interesting happened to me at work today. Something surreal. I went to the ER today, and had a couple of patients in the emergency room, and one of the ER docs came up to me and was like, "You're Dr. Darko. I listened to your podcast, Docs Outside the Box, right?" And like, it's just like,
He recognized your voice or your face?
I think it was the voice, and it just caught me off guard because I'm like talking like, yeah, the potassium is this, and you're gonna need a CT scan. And I was like, oh snap! It's like a scene from Coming to America, right? Oh my goodness!
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! It is you! I cannot believe it! Oh! Greetings, Your Highness! Greetings.
Please stop bowing, please.
Oh my goodness! I am a royal member of Zamunda, right? Like, no, she wasn't like that. Man. Shout out if you remember that show, Alfred. That's a great scene. Isn't that a great scene?
Yeah.
That's a great scene.
Yeah.
But no, it caught me off guard because I was just like, dang, like I said, I'm talking right now in an extended stay and I'm looking, into the kitchen, a messy kitchen, right? And, you get shocked that people listen to the show.
Yeah.
You get shocked that people listen to the show. And I just want to say, like, if you are listening, the doctor who came up to me today, if you're listening, I just want to say it means a lot to me that you came up. It means a lot to me that you're listening to the show.
You're not gonna give him a name shout out?
No. I'm not going to give her a name. No, because she didn't want that. And I just also want to say she's doing locums. Also, she's been working in the ER as an employed doc for like several years, and like this is her first job as a locums doc, and she
nice.
She loves it.
Nice. Was it because of Docs Outside the Box?
I don't know. I didn't really ask that question.
You gotta be asking that question. You gotta take the credit where the credit is due.
I didn't ask that question, but I did ask her. I was like, yo, you gotta make sure you give me a thumbs up. All those things.
A subscribe. Stop playing. Give us a comment. Give us a comment.
So I just want to give a shout out to her. I do want to ask you a question. Oh man, I'm running blank on this question. Let me go to my notes. Hold on, let me go to my notes. I went blank on this question that I have.
Anyway. Well, let's end this segment right now, and then maybe when we come back to the next segment, you will remember your question.
Oh, yeah.
What are we talking about next?
Let's talk about real quick the running equipment that I use, because people at work, I've been kind of showing off some of the stuff that I've been using. So I bought these right here. These are called Open Shocks right here. And these are headphones that you put right around your ear. And they're excellent. They're bone conduction earphones, right? And I've been, for the last several years, been struggling with trying to find a pair of headphones, earbuds that were really good for running, really good for lifting weights. I have Beats Studio Pros. Let me find them real quick. Hold on a second. I have Beats Studio Pros that just came out, and these are okay. They clip on the ear, right? On the side of my ear. The problem is when I sweat or when I run, they come out. They don't fit. I have one of those weird shaped ears that the buds that you're wearing, like those would never stay in my ear. So I don't know if I have a birth defect or something like that, but these Open Shocks are amazing.
Birth defect.
Today, I don't know why those earbuds don't stay, but this right here, you put it around your ear. It doesn't go into your ear canal. It goes right on the side here, on the temple, and then it conducts, right? It goes through bone conduction, and you can hear everything very loud. And then also at the same time, your ear canal's open, you can hear your surrounding community. You can hear cars driving by, you can hear people talking. It's amazing. It's amazing. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about was these right here, these shoes right here that I've been making fun of people the entire time in the hospital. Hoka's. These are Hoka Cliftons.
Yeah,
these look tacky as hell. These are sneakers. Oh yeah, that's true. People are, what do you call it?
Listening.
Yo, so these shoes that I've been like clowning people for wearing, like look how thick like the sole is. I look and I'm like, they don't look sexy though, right? But the cushioning on this baby, Nene, the cushioning on these are amazing.
What's so
I
great
feel like
about the cushion?
when I run on these, I feel like I'm running on air. Like I feel like I'm running like on clouds. They feel amazing.
Oh, and so
Like,
you bought yourself a pair, but you didn't buy me a pair.
well, these are running shoes. You don't run, right?
Maybe I would run if you bought me some Hokas.
Well, okay, well, I'll take you with me to the store next time and see if you're interested in getting some.
Oh,
My
okay.
bad.
Okay.
But I love those things. Those are the two things that I'm using right now. I'm going to use them for a significant period of time. I love them. And I just, you know me already. Like I'm very like whatever shoe I have, even though I've had it for like several years, I'll just keep using that. Whatever apparel I have, I'll just use it. And the technology in running has really advanced a lot. And I have to admit, I was really behind on it. Really behind on it. So
how do you think I mean, has it improved your running game so far?
oh, Renee, I'm not even gonna front like so I have had this issue with my calf and my Achilles where they just feel tight all the time. And maybe it takes me like a mile and a half to get warm, but with these shoes, like I don't feel any issues with my calf at all. You remember how it was like
yeah, I remember.
The whole point of me doing like T25, the whole point of me doing all of these different hit type workouts is because every time I would go for a run, like after a mile, I'll catch a really bad cramp in my calf. Now, the one thing that we didn't talk about is I started seeing a physical therapist who helped me.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah,
strengthen my calf. Like particularly my left calf was really weak, so I started strengthening the calf. And that's gotten stronger. But just in general, like running in these shoes, like I get warmer faster. I feel better support, and I'm running more miles because I'm more consistent, but it's not as pain. The other shoes that I was wearing, they're so hard. I feel like everything on the ground, right? And it's just not
you feel
the
like
same.
the impact.
Oh yeah, I feel the impact with everything. Now, like when I used my other shoes to work out in, those shoes I used to work out in, I can't even run in them anymore because
it's the shoes. Got to be the shoes.
Gots to be the shoes, yo.
Gots to be the shoes. Yep. Okay. So the bone conduction, I guess, what do you call that? An earpiece? What do they call it? Headphones?
It's like headphones and stuff. Look at you trying to ask questions. But yeah, like these things they're good. I like them. These are the best pickup I've had. These cost $125 and the battery life on it is amazing. Like I will go for a 5-mile run. If I start at 100%, I go on a 5-mile run and I listen to music continuously. By the time I finish my run, I'm at like 90%.
Are they waterproof?
These are waterproof, or I think these are water resistant, but they make one that you can go into a pool.
What?
So these are for swimmers. They have one that's for swimmers. And then the reason that they're cool too is the one for swimmers, you can program music into it, right? Because if there's music that can be programmed into it, then you don't need a phone to swim.
Yeah, but I'm imagining if you're swimming, they're not going to come off?
No. I run with this for 5 miles. They don't come off.
Okay, but you also don't have hair, so.
Someone mentioned that at work too. They were like, there's one girl I was talking to. She was like, yeah, I got hair and da-da-da.
Oh, that's your work wife?
No.
Why you look like that, Nee? Damn.
No, and don't get me in trouble too, because like people be listening to the show.
You don't want talking about in the last episode.
I didn't say I had a work wife.
I didn't say you said you had a work wife. You said people had a work wife.
People at work have work wives.
Yes, you said that about 2 weeks ago. You were like, yeah, people have work wives. I gotta make sure.
I ain't got one.
I gotta make sure. Be popping up on you. Knock, knock, knock. Is that your address?
All right.
All right, now we're going to really end this segment, okay? We're going to talk next about the big, beautiful bill or whatever the hell they calling it. But this time we're going to be talking about it from the standpoint of physician shortage. So we will see you in the next segment. Make sure to join us.